Well, we certainly know, Yvonne, that this is a case certainly called the zombie case that has actually gone on for more than 5 years. Things really heated up in the past year with the new Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, deciding that he was going to take this case on again. Michael Cohen, who had been Donald Trump's former personal attorney, had been called in for interviews at least 22 times with the district attorney's office. He appeared in front of the grand jury along with some other famous names, Kellyanne Conway, who was Donald Trump's advisor in the White House, Hope Hicks, who had been his communications director during the campaign and also served in the White House. There were journalists that were called in that were involved in this particular case. So you had to have a wide range of individuals. Stormy Daniels herself, who this case is about, the $130,000 in hush money payments, as far as we know, she has not appeared in front of the grand jury. Now, will she appear at a potential trial here in New York? That's a very good question.
A lot of questions to be answered. We'll find out the details of the charges only once Donald Trump is in custody. When and how is that expected to happen?
Well, this is an extremely fluid situation. I have never seen anything like this in all my years of reporting. You have to understand that this is a historic event. There's never been a U.S. president, excuse me, who has ever been indicted, who's ever been arrested in the history of our country here. The NYPD, our police force here in New York, they asked last night, according to reports, that all 36,000 police officers be in uniform and on standby today. I don't think at this hour, at least from what we're learning this morning here in New York, that we're going to see Donald Trump's arrival in New York. It's very possible that this arraignment is going to happen on Tuesday. Now, whether Donald Trump comes into New York this weekend or arrives on Monday, we don't know at this point. We do know that the police are bracing down at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. There's also a heavy police presence this morning in front of Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. So these are key points where police are fearful of any type of protest. But at this hour, we're not aware of any violence or any planned events of that kind.
And what happens after Donald Trump, well, he's expected to turn himself in. What's the process after that, and how long could this case last?
You know, this case certainly, there's no telling at this point, because you have two other major investigations going on right now. The one in Atlanta, Georgia, over Donald Trump's actions, alleged actions to get more votes for the election. Of course, you also have the independent investigation going on in Washington, D.C. over January 6th and his involvement in that. Now, you know, there have been reports that indictments could be coming in both of those other cases. So this is certainly a situation that is in waters that have not been tested. We don't know which particular case would go first if there were to be trials. But in the New York case here, the hush money case involving Stormy Daniels and his alleged attempts to cover it up during his campaign before the election, this is something that first we have to see the charges unsealed. We know the indictment has been handed down by the grand jury. We're getting some reports that we could see the documents before Donald Trump's actual appearance in front of the judge. That is possible. We're being told there's at least 30 some odd charges involved here, or counts. So we have to see that. Then, of course, Donald Trump's attorneys have already stated last night, coming out of Mar-a-Lago, Florida, that they plan to immediately go in front of a judge and have this case tossed out. There's going to be a lot of judicial wrangling here. We do know that Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, is on a slippery slope in terms of bringing this case to fruition, bringing it in front of an actual jury of 12 individuals here in New York. I will say this. While, of course, we want an absolutely fair and unbiased jury, this is New York City. This is Manhattan, which is extremely democratic in nature. And whether Donald Trump could actually get a fair trial here, I think, remains to be seen.
And Barry, you have interviewed Stormy Daniels, who is such a key figure in this whole scenario. What do you think her views are on these latest developments?
Well, I think that is a very nice woman. I interviewed Stormy Daniels in Lexington, Kentucky back in 2019. It happened to be, in fact, the evening right before Michael Cohen was being sent off to jail for his involvement in these hush money cases, in this case. And I asked Stormy Daniels for my book, All the President's Women, would you like to eventually see Donald Trump indicted when he leaves office? And interestingly, she said, and this is a direct quote, it's not even just about Donald Trump per se. It's that I don't think anybody should be above the law, whether it's the president or not. And if he continues to get away with the things he's gotten away with, what is someone else going to come along and do? So, you know, that was Stormy Daniels' reaction to me back in 2019 when I asked her specifically if Donald Trump should be indicted. She has taken, as she told me in my interview, she was personally threatened by an individual in front of her child. This goes back much earlier in the case, not to speak and not to come forward. She's had to maintain personal security all of these years. She's also had to take the vicious attacks from Donald Trump, disparaging comments, calling her things like horse face and trying to belittle her on national television. She's a tough woman. I think the reports from last night was that Stormy felt that justice may be finally being done. She did say there's been a huge increase in her merchandise sales. So I think she went to bed happy last night.
That's right. She has thanked everyone for their support. Barry Levine, always good to get your insights. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.